Are we alone in the universe? The question man has asked himself since the dawn of time is one he is most likely to debate far into the future. And if we're not alone, might Mars, our sister red planet, be where we find life beyond Earth? Today we embark on a journey, from the earliest science fiction to the most advanced technology, to explore one of the great mysteries of our time, the possibility of life on Mars. Mars has always captivated the human imagination. Centuries of writers and dreamers have stared upwards at the night sky and imagined Mars as a world teeming with alien life. Some had believed that Mars has civilizations more advanced than ours. Remember H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds? Or those 1950s sci-fi movies about Martians invading Earth? We had envisaged them as green-skinned aliens with big heads, arriving to conquer. But once our perception of space began to evolve, Martians assumed a far more realistic meaning. Not super advanced organisms but rather tiny microbial ones, entrenched beneath the red surface. Why Mars? Of all the planets in our solar system, why is Mars the focus of so much attention? First, Mars is a lot like Earth. It has seasons, polar ice caps, and has day lengths comparable to our own. It is not too far from the Sun, and scientists believe that it once had liquid water, lots of it. Water is essential for life as we know it. And where there is water, there is possibility for life. Over the past decades, we sent robots to Mars in search of signs of life. These rovers have crawled over the planet's surface, drilling into rocks, snapping pictures, and analyzing soil. The results fascinating. Take Curiosity, for instance. That is that rover which has been exploring Mars since 2012. It came across evidence that Mars long ago, probably billions of years ago, had the right conditions for life. Think ancient lakes and rivers where life could have thrived. These rock formations tell a story of water, a story of how ancient microbial life might have once called Mars home. And then there's the latest Mars rover, Perseverance, which landed in 2021. It's collecting samples that could one day come back to Earth, letting scientists look for ancient biosignatures, signs that life may have existed in the distant past. But that's ancient Mars, and what about today? Could Mars still harbor life, right now? Quite possibly, since life as we know it can adapt to extremes of environmental conditions. Take for instance the case of Earth. We find microorganisms inhabiting deep underground, in hydrothermal vents, and even in cold, dry deserts in Antarctica. Why not on Mars, if it can survive there? Some scientists think that if life exists at all on Mars today, it may be found deep underground, where liquid water could still exist today, insulated from the high radiation and toxic chemistry on the surface. And then, in 2018, came the big one. Orbital spacecraft began detecting radar scans of a great lake of liquid water beneath the Martian South Pole. Could life be lurking in these hidden reservoirs? The other crucial piece in the life on Mars jigsaw does not come from Mars itself but from Martian meteorites that have crashed to Earth. But one of the most famous meteorites, ALH 84001, which was found in Antarctica back in 1984, caused worldwide debate. The reason for it was because it contained structures that looked uncannily like fossilized bacteria. Was this proof that life once existed on Mars? Not everyone agreed, and the scientific community remains divided. But what it did show us was that Mars and Earth are more connected than we once thought. Here's where it gets really exciting: humans go to Mars. Humans may very well step foot on the planet within the next few decades. Imagine what we may find when boots touch down. We can explore caves, dig deeper, bring advanced instruments that no rover could ever carry. We'd have an answer to the ultimate question: is there life on Mars? But the bigger question is, why does it matter? Why do we care so much about life on Mars? First, a discovery of microbial life on Mars, even that alone would be monumental. We would understand that life is not some cosmic miracle that happened just at this one place called Earth. Rather, it is something that could pop out wherever the conditions exactly have been right. We could take more interesting questions: could life exist other places in our solar system or elsewhere? It would remake our understanding of life itself, how it begins, how it survives, and what it means for our future in the cosmos. And if we find life, or even the potential for life, it could be the first step to making Mars not just a place we explore, but a place we live. As humanity reaches farther into space, Mars marks our new frontier, a stepping stone into deeper depths of the universe. And who knows, but perhaps this discovery of life on Mars may provide the spark that will catalyze an interstellar quest for knowledge and urge us onward to explore worlds well beyond Earth. Lowell felt that he could observe canals on Mars, suggesting that a more advanced Martian civilization was responsible for them to distribute water around their desert planet. These ideas, if not wild-sounding today, sparked an explosion of interest in Mars within science and fiction. We may laugh now about those ideas, Martians in flying saucers and the mystically carved canals, but those stories planted the seeds for what would blossom into some serious scientific study of Mars. And the more we learned, the more we came to realize that truth was stranger than fiction. As the decades passed, the science refined. We sent orbiters and landers to Mars. Every new mission revealed more details about this alien world. We went from imagining vast Martian oceans and forests to discovering something far more subtle, but no less remarkable. Well, we actually found evidence to believe that Mars was a very different place altogether in the distant past. Those dry riverbeds. They are only evidence that water once flowed freely across its surface, billions of years ago. And where there is water, well, there could be life. Mars may have been a world rich in water, one of the key ingredients for life. Ancient lakes, ancient deltas, ancient rivers all signal to us that Mars was once much more like Earth than we could ever have imagined. And it's that, really, that gets us so excited today. Fast forward to the present day, and we have placed our finest robotic envoys upon Mars rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance. They have peered for us. They have reached out hands on the ground, crawling over the Martian surface, investigating rocks and soil for signs that Mars may once have supported life. Curiosity has been on Mars since 2012, and in that time, it's uncovered a load of exciting clues. Organic molecules, the building blocks of life preserved in ancient rocks. The newest rover, Perseverance, is taking things one step further. It's collecting samples that, one day, will be brought back to Earth for close study. And here's the kicker. Those samples may contain signs of ancient microbial life, hiding in the Martian soil. But for the sake of argument, let's change gears for a second. We have been talking about old Mars, but what about today? Could there still be life on Mars right now? Not little green men with rockets and skyscrapers, but tiny, tough forms of life that might be surviving underground, out of sight. On Earth, we have discovered life under the most extreme conditions, things that live in boiling volcanic vents, deep under ice sheets, or even high up in the stratosphere. Certain microorganisms, so-called extremophiles, are able to survive miles underground or in highly toxic environments without sunlight. Might life on Mars be similar? If life were to exist on Mars today, it would most likely be hiding in places protected from the harsh surface conditions, perhaps deep underground, where water could still exist as a liquid insulated from the freezing cold and radiation. But there is another intriguing piece to this puzzle, and it involves not Mars itself, but meteorites that have fallen to Earth. Some of these meteorites, like the famous ALH 84001, are pieces of Mars that were blown off the planet by ancient impacts and later landed on Earth. Inside this meteorite, when put under a scientist's eye, they found some structures that looked just like fossilized bacteria. This must have been one of the most sensational discoveries of the 1990s. Was this the proof that Mars once had life? Not everybody was convinced, and the debate is still on to this date. But it taught us something very important, that Mars might have had conditions to support life, even up to now when we do not have the final proof. Now, here is when things get real. Humans are off to Mars. In the next decades, astronauts will land on the Red Planet, opening a whole new chapter of exploration. With human presence on Mars, one would be able to explore in ways that no robot ever could. We will drill deeper, look further, and perhaps, just perhaps, uncover the greatest discovery life away from Earth. Said, thanks for joining us on Discovery Blaze. Until next time.